Roule prend le relais là où votre assurance auto s'arrête. Roule, le premier club auto qui profite à tous, à condition de ne pas passer à côté.
Clio Cup Series is at Misano this weekend with a really big entry stretching all the way back towards the final corner. And not only do we have the Umbrella Series, we also have Clio Cup France and Clio Cup Italy here this weekend. The way that Clio Cup operates is you can register for the main Clio Cup Series, and if you so desire, one region, or you can do two regions, but not the Umbrella Championship. And many of the names that we are seeing at the front are familiar ones from the history of Clio Cup, including, for example, the reigning Clio Cup Series champion, Gabriele Torelli, who's going to be on the second row of the grid, and on pole position, David Pouget, who is currently the Clio Cup Series leader with 4 wins. And in the French Championship that he's also registered for, he is the dominant driver, unbeaten. 4 out of 4 is the record there for David Pouget, who runs the GPA racing team and is always a man to beat. One of the regular front runners in Renault Clio Cup racing, and he will remain one to watch here as well. There is Alex Lanciolotti, who is in Clio Cup Italy, twice a winner this season, and will again be a pace setter, I would have thought, in this race. Very quick driver is Lanciolotti. And there, lining up third on the grid, Nicolas Milan, who, like David Pouget, operates a team. And Nicolas Milan has been the 2009 French champion and the 2010 and 2011 Clio Euro Cup and 2013 Clio Spain and 2014 Clio Cup France, and in 18 he won the French and the Spanish, and then in 2020 he won the Spanish, and in 2021 he was the European champion. He is another of these very, very accomplished one-make specialists, and Nicolas Milan will be one to watch, as will there the reigning champion then, Gabriele Torelli, in the red, white and blue Rangoni Corsa colours, Luca Rangoni's team. Torelli, last year's not only Clio Cup champion, but Clio Cup France champion as well. He won the Mid-Europe Series in 23 and Clio Cup Italy back in 2022. Number 69. Next on the grid is Philip Kuncha, multiple hill climb champion, the man from Montenegro, moving to Clio's last year, one of his best qualifying efforts of the season, in fact. And then starting 6th on the grid is number 127 of Gael Castelli, who we've seen in GT4 European Series in the past, but he's a Peugeot Spider champion, Seat champion in France, Carrera Cup France champion, 2019 Alpine Europa Cup champion, and last year French GT Pro-Am class champion, so another experienced driver. That is one of the less experienced drivers on the grid, Stefan Stoikov, who's come to Clio racing this season, and he is another of the Rangoni Corsa drivers. And then next on the grid, and it's good to see because we don't have terribly many of them over the last few years, a British driver, Ben Colborne, for the Westbourne Motorsport team. In recent years, we've seen more of him in historics, both at Goodwood and elsewhere, but also in Mini-Melia racing in the UK. We have got a sort of Clio Cup back. It's not got massive numbers yet, but there is one in the UK, and he was third in that last year. And the next man on the grid is another of the drivers who has been racing in that UK Championship, Dara Flock, the Irish driver who was the junior saloon car champion in the UK 2 seasons ago. The race is 25 minutes plus a lap, and there you can see the grid stretching all the way back. You can see the rear of 111, well, you could a moment ago, Ronan Delalande, Carter turned Clio racer. In number 227 is Ronnie Stefani, who came into Clio's last year from karting. And we have 42 of them set to do battle. These cars given a facelift last year, front and rear lights and bumpers. In terms of the engine, they are 4-cylinder 1332 turbocharged engines, 200 horsepower, and the cars with 5-speed sequential gearboxes. They weigh in at 1025 kilos, so proper little pocket rockets. Christian Riccarini there, double Clio Cup Italy champion in treble 7, lining up 12th on the grid. And you can see the grid stretching not just back to the last corner, but very nearly to Cattolica, town down the road, because there are so many of them. They go all the way around that last corner. It's a one-by-one staggered grid that kind of makes the problem worse, but repeater lights needed, and the race director, Pierre Delettre, the very experienced Belgian official, will be trying to make sure that everybody knows when the race has started. Drivers eager to get on with the action then. Another of the Rangoni Corsa cars there. You can see is 430, which is the car of Damiano Puccetti. There is Aurélien Renault, another driver who is in the leading group and run by the JSB Julien Brichet team. 84 looking further back on the grid. Matteo Lanciolotti came 9th in last year's championship. Now, not only do we have the Umbrella Series, not only do we have the regions, but within each there are then subclasses for the juniors, the challengers and the gentlemen, depending on your age. So everybody really has something to fight for. But in Clio racing, it is seldom boring, and classes kind of get talked about only at the end because there's normally an awful lot to focus on. David Pouget's squad then, with that white and yellow car on pole position, trying to make sure that he is keeping cool inside the car. As I say, he's won 4 out of 4 in Clio Cup France. In Clio Cup Italy, it's been 2 wins to Alex Lanciolotti, 1 to Gael Castelli, and 1 win to Ronnie Stefani. Ronnie Stefani winning last time out, indeed, at Imola. And in the overall Clio Cup, David Pouget 4 wins. Nicolas Milon has taken 1 victory. And Gabriele Torelli 2. The other winner, which was at Imola, is Anthony Gerardo, who is a long, long way back on the grid. Anthony Gerardo starting only 16th, and he has been for quite a few seasons now another of the quickest drivers out there. Anthony Gerardo was always fast but quite wild. Once he got the wild streak dialed out, he went on to win the European Championship in 2022 and the Italian Championship last year. So Anthony Gerardo putting the experience to good effect, and I should think he'll make some progress as well. So keep an eye to number 5 of Anthony Gerardo as the race wears on. So 25 minutes, then the regulation lap tacked on at the end. And the drivers very shortly will be allowed away from the grid, and a chance to get some warmth into the Michelin tires on which the cars all run. Last year, Gabriele Torelli was the Clio Cup Series champion. Damiano Puccetti was the winning junior. Guillaume Maillot won the Challengers Award, and the gentlemen, the older drivers class, won by Michael Carré. Clio Cup Spain won by Damiano Puccetti, and the gentleman class by Samuel Chalin. In France, Gabriele Torelli was the champion. Florian Venturi, Calvin Comte and Michael Carré, the class winners. And in Italy, as I say, Gerardo was the champion, with Alex Lanciolotti and Cristiano Riccarini taking category wins as well. So many of those names are back on the grid, which is now being released onto the formation lap, and the cars now turning their way on through turns 1, 2 and 3, that first S sequence, which normally makes life pretty busy. So let's look at the grid. David Pouget is the man on pole position, with Alex Lanciolotti alongside. Then you've got Nicolas Milon starting 3rd and Gabriele Torelli 4th. Philippe Kutscher is 5th ahead of Gael Castelli, and 7th it is Stefan Stoikov ahead of Ben Colburn. Lining up on the 5th row, Dara Flock from Ronnie Stefani. Then you've got Nicola Tosic and Christian Ricciarini, with the 7th row being Damiano Puccetti and Aurélien Renault. Row 8, Matteo Lanciolotti and Anthony Gerardo a long way back, but as ever a man to watch. Then it is Giacomo Trebi with Francesco Pagano alongside. Next up on the 10th row comes the junior Milan entry, Nicolas Milan Jr. and Guillaume Maillot alongside. On the 11th row, you've got Mauro Polderman and Michael Carré. Row 12, it is Thomas Compin and Eric Borsani ahead of Ben Jenkins and Ronan Delon next up. Then you get on the 14th row to Vladimir Lobachev and Stefan Polderman ahead of Loic Lebeda and Samuel Chalin. The 16th row, Sandro Cutini and Laurent Ziadus, who's normally a little bit higher up the order than that. Pierluigi Sturla is on the 17th row with Franck Horn for company, who runs under the pseudonym of just Horn. Andrea Ceccheretti comes next on the 18th row with Joe Nava for company ahead of Rolando Borracini and Michel Fay. Youssef Gaba is next up, number 66, with Leo Hohenberg, ex-Carter, and late entry to the race this weekend, Gabriele Alonso at the rear of the field. That is Anthony Gerardo, who has gone to the Rangoni team. For many years he was a customer of Nicolas Milon, but decided to flee the nest and go to the Italian team. The Italians chipping away over the years at beating the French, if you like, at their own game, but Luca Rangoni's squad finally doing it, and that has tempted one or two customers in his direction. So to the front of the grid then comes the GPA lockout, David Pouget and Alex Lanciolotti, both in the GPA racing cars, with Milan and Rangoni cars on the second row, Milan and only Milan on the third, because both Philippe Kunze and Gaël Castelli ran for Nicolas Milan's team. So up to the grid they come. The last few cars will trickle into position, and then 25 minutes will be ready to go. The final few cars still coming out of the hairpin up to the grid. 25 minutes, at the end of which there will be the one-lap board, so the drivers know when it's the last lap, rather than having to try and worry about looking at deltas on a dash display. They know exactly when it's the last lap, and they can plan a strategy accordingly. They're not going to get caught out, so makes it fairer for everybody. The grid is complete then, and there is Ronan Delon slotting into position towards the back of the grid. Ben Jenkins' car will be there as well alongside. Once everybody is ready to go, there's no real point in Marshall waving the green flag particularly, because nobody's going to see it. But word will get through to the starter that we are good to go, and then the lights can go to red. It is the 9th race in Clio Cup Series then, with the French and the Italian championships up for grabs as well. Points there. Lights out, we go racing, and a good getaway by David Pouget from pole position, and he moves across to defend from Alex Lanciolotti on the way down towards turn 1. Good start also by Nicolas Milan to be on the outside line as these 1400cc pocket rockets pour down towards the first S's. Then Milan gets up the inside of Lanciolotti, who gets roughed up and run out way wide up the escape road. Lanciolotti will try to blend back in without gaining an advantage. There he is on the inside line. So it is two regular old stagers and old rivals, David Pouget, Nicolas Milan, and Milan gets hit, does he there? That was Lanciolotti on the inside, and yes, Milan gets fired out wide, and he's involved with others there as well. Possibly Puccetti, he was delayed in all of that as the cars bounced their way over the curve for the first time. So David Pouget has made good his escape while all that was going on. Everybody else has survived in varying states of repair. So David Pouget leads the pack now then as the cars come through the first sector on towards turn 8. And Pouget goes a little bit wide with, in second spot, Gabriele Torelli then. So last year's champion running in second place. But David Pouget looking not only for a 5th Clio Cup win, but also to maintain this unbeaten run in Clio Cup France as the cars come now up through the turn 10 right-hander. There you had on the inside Ronan Delon getting himself up past 82. That was the car in the hands from the MC Mototecnica stable of Pierluigi Sturla. So for the first time they come through Curvoni, speed building all the while at this point as the cars get faster and faster and faster. Through the pack they come, and an effort being made on the inside line there to try to recover lost ground by Nikola Tosic, the Serbian driver. Big lock-up from number 13, which is from the front row of the grid, Alex Lanciolotti. He was badly delayed in that skirmish down at turn 4. And so as the cars come up towards the end of lap 1, it is Pouget leading, it is Torelli in second place, and then it's almost everybody else trying to be third as they dive down towards turn 16. But despite all the rowdiness that you get in Clio racing, they've all survived. Big flash of the lights by Torelli there to try and unsettle Pouget. Across the line they come then. In third place it is Gaël Castelli, who's made good progress up from 6th on the grid. Everybody else comes pouring over the line. In 4th, it's Ben Colburn, who's had a good first lap. Alex Lanciolotti is 5th. Down to 6th is Milan. In 7th place, it is Stoikov. Dara Flock is 8th. 9th is Philippe Kunze. He was the other one delayed with Milan. And in 10th place, it is Ronnie Stefani as the leaders then starting to bunch up a little bit. Come up through turn 5. Pouget not getting away here. And the danger is, with a nice long back straight coming up, that a tow can be afforded to Gabriele Torelli and he can make a move. So Pouget has to try to defend that inside line, which he does. And then in 3rd place, Gaël Castelli working out where he can make a move. These cars, by his standards of racing in GT4 or Carrera Cup France, a bit underpowered, but he's adapted really well to front-wheel drive pocket rockets. There's another lock-up lower down the order as the cars go now through turn 8. So Pouget, Torelli and Castelli, the top three, there they are. Ben Colburn just hanging on to fourth, but Alex Lanciolotti lining up to make a move on the inside. Does he make it work? Yes, he does. He goes through. So Lanciolotti recovering after his lap 1 dramas. Back up into fourth place. Pouget goes very defensive indeed there, crowding out Torelli, who is now also giving a tow to Gael Castelli's blue, white and yellow car in third place. These three pretty much together as they drop now through turn 11. Pouget still in the lead. He knows how to stick out his elbows. He knows how to make a Clio wide, and he also knows when to push and when to work the tyres. Up the inside line tries to go Torelli. Castelli has a go as well. Way up the curb goes Gabriele Torelli. He's got the race lead, but here comes Gael Castelli, who skips up the inside of both of them. More drama. Ben Colburn has been roughed up and he's delayed coming out of the hairpin as it is Torelli in the lead. Castelli is second and Pouget down to third then, with coming back at all of them Alex Lanciolotti in fourth place. So David Pouget has led a lap. Now it is Torelli's turn to hit the front. How long before Gael Castelli makes his move as well? Over the line they come with number 13, Alex Lanciolotti, under investigation. That can only be for the incident with Milan up at turn 4 on the opening lap. Nicolas Milan is in 5th place now in the largely white car there, heading that next long wave of cars. And it can't be longer, wouldn't have thought, before Nicolas Milan is back with him. He was lucky not to spin, actually. I think that would have been very, very bad news. He managed to save the slide with all its experience. So Nicolas Milan turning his way up now through turn 4. You can see everybody else in a big, big battle lower down the order as they turn through. Traffic cone lying rather forlornly in the middle of the road, just an extra hazard for people. And it gets flicked out of the way as Torelli leads, Castelli second, Pouget third, and then fourth it is Alex Lanciolotti, Nicolas Milan fifth, trying to get up with him as Castelli makes his move for the lead, and he gets it at turn 8. So third different race leader in 2.5 laps. Gael Castelli now up front. And all of this gives not only Pouget a chance to challenge again, but Alex Lanciolotti, who may yet find himself on the wrong side of the law, as it were, for the dramas on the first lap. But it's a 4-way fight for the lead. This enormous 16-wheel Clio might become a 20-wheel Clio shortly, because there's another car joining in. Look, Nicolas Milan in the all-white livery, getting closer and closer and closer. Castelli leading the way as they come down towards the kink at turn 11. Gabriele Torelli, number 1, the reigning champion, has got David Pouget, the current championship leader, right on his outside there. Pouget 4 times a winner, unbeaten in Clio Cup France, and Pouget looking for points. They all lock up, scrabbling up to the hairpin. Castelli goes wide, up the inside, barges Torelli. I'm coming through, he says, make his own arrangements, and he does go by. There's more tortured Michelin squealing of tyres as the cars come out of the hairpin. Anthony Girardo there at number 6, trying to make progress as well. He was 9th at the end of the previous lap, so Girardo looking to gain further ground as up towards the line goes Pouget third, and Nicolas Milan, look, is right with them now in 5th place. Ben Colburn down to 21st. I said he got roughed up at the hairpin a lap ago. Very definitely he did, and he's trying to fight back, but maybe has picked up a little bit of damage, so struggling so to do. The leading quintet long gone. 6th is Stefan Stoichkov, and then you've got Kunze, Girardo, Flock and Riccarini to round out the top 10. Pouget now to the inside of Gael Castelli as they head into the braking zone. Gael Castelli, another of the Milan customers. He's the best placed of Nicolas Milan's fleet of cars right now. Patron is in 5th place, looking the white car. 6th, a bit lonely, Stefan Stoichkov, and then Philip Kunze has got almost the entire rest of the entry tucked up behind him, including Anthony Girardo, there, number 5. So Girardo is the next one to look for in that Rangoni car as Pouget starts to threaten Castelli coming into turn 8. Race leaders then heading up towards turn 9. We had a little bit further back there, cars well and truly crowded, more contact, more drama coming down towards turn 8. That was Mikael Carre, number 7, getting caught up with others. He managed to hang on to the slide. That could have ended rather nastily with cars all around him. So thankfully everyone breathes a sigh of relief, and Carre carries on as well. Up to 9 they come now. Who else got involved in all of that? 21. That was Stefan Polderman. Again, very experienced driver is Stefan Polderman. And his son Mauro is to be found in the entry as well. Stefan Polderman, go back to 2010, Belgian touring car champion. So he knows his stuff. We've got a car with damage there. Look, smoke billowing off the rubber as the bodywork fouls against the tyre. And all of that is coming out of Pierluigi Sturla's car And if the tyre doesn't go bang, then he's bound for the pit lane. Here are the leaders, and it is Torelli back ahead of Castelli then. And Gael Castelli feints to the inside line, can't go through there, but the commitment is absolutely unbowed, isn't it? He's all over the back of Torelli. Nicolas Milan goes bouncing out way wide. That'll be a track limit warning as the leaders come by. 5 for the lead now. Pouget trying to get a tow from Castelli, who is right there behind the leading Torelli as they drop into turn 1. Still 17 minutes of the timed part of the race to go, and then that regulation lap at the end as you see Milan in the white car now getting up onto the back of Alex Lanciolotti. Now there's not much love lost between those two, remember. They made contact at this corner on the first lap, and Milan may well not care too much about how he goes past. Castelli all over the back of Torelli. Up the curb they go. The curb there, very much part of the racetrack. They come wide coming out of turn 6. There's the kink at 7, and Castelli gets a tow from Gabriele Torelli. The Rangoni Corsa car in the lead. In second, the Milan Competition entry, and then third is GPA Racing. It is David Pouget's white and yellow car ahead of the equivalent white and green of his teammate, Alex Lanciolotti. So as the leaders turn through, Torelli is not only the overall race leader, but he's the first of those, of course, entered purely for Clio Cup Series. Gael Castelli, running in second place, is leading the Italian championship part, and then David Pouget is the leading French championship runner. So you've got the 3 class leaders, if you like, 3 championship leaders, all running in that leading group, but they're all registered for Clio Cup Series anyway, so they want to win outright, even though they're leading their respective national, regional championships. So Castelli, 127, is on the attack and looks to get up the inside of Torelli, coming up towards the turn 14 hairpin. There in the pit lane is Pierluigi Sturla. They're trying to sort out the tyre versus bodywork issue. And it's 5 for the race lead then as they come up towards turn 15 with 15.5 minutes on the clock. Pouget was the one on the tighter line there, looking to try to get past Castelli, but he couldn't do it. Now, is this one of those categories? Is this one of those circuits where in a one-make race you definitely don't want to be leading up onto the last lap? You want to be in the queue and then make your push late race? Possibly so. Remember, all of these leading drivers massively experienced in one-make racing of one sort or another. So Gabriele Torelli, who used to race in the Mini Challenge as well, twice a runner-up in that before he had his successes in Clios. Alex Lanciolotti has been a regular in the Italian Championship over the last 3 seasons, and then you've got the old stagers of Pouget and Milan in that mix as well. For 8th place, he's pretty frantic. Gerardo is on the back of the blue car of Dara Flock. Behind him, you've got 227 of Ronnie Stefani. And there's so much going on that race control are going to look at all the other incidents post-race. There's the other Milan entry of Milan Junior going through, Nicola Milan Jr. as the race leaders. Again, Concertina as they come down towards turn 8. It's still 5 for the lead. Now, in that 6th place, Stefan Stoikov not really being able to catch up much as he would like to. He hasn't quite unlocked the pace. Nicola Milan Jr. there on the outside line. You see that his car is slightly smarter than Dad's, so it's like the cobbler's shoes. Dad's so busy looking after the customers that his car is the one in the boring white livery. There it is on the back of Lanciolotti. So the 2 rivals from lap 1, turn 4, nose to tail on the road as Torelli defends from Castelli, who defends from Pouget. Down towards turn 11, the yellow-nosed car of Pouget all over the back of there, Gael Castelli. Pouget way wide. That might incur a track limit warning as Castelli tries to brave it out with Torelli all the way around the outside up towards turn 13. You can see 3-wheeling, the car's hopping and skipping. Castelli tries the inside line. Pouget with a big lock-up is right back with them, and so also is Lanciolotti and Milan. David Pouget again thinks about the inside line, can't do it. The car's very darty, late on the brakes. You can see the way that the cars have to be attacked, but equally you don't want to be overusing the tyres. So there's clearly an art to driving these rapidly. And right now, Gabriele Torelli is the master. Last year's Clio Cup Series champion, leading the way as they drop down again through turn 1. We've had some shuffling on that lap because Philip Kunze is up into 6th place now at the expense of Stefan Stoikov. Gerardo is up into 8th, Ronnie Stefani is up into 9th, and Christian Ricciarini is in 10th place. There is the green car of Kunze. That was another one delayed, remember, in the Milan and Alex Lanciolotti dramas of lap 1. Hence the damage, and he's trying to get back into the mix on the outside line a little bit further back there, 22. That was Dara Flock. Now he's dropped a long way down the order. So Flock was 12 over the line and may well have dropped yet more ground, as you see Gerardo there on the attack, trying to get away now from Ronnie Stefani. There is Dara Flock, number 22. in turn. Coming under attack from Nicolas Milon Jr., who gets up the inside, goes through, and you've also got Damiano Puccetti there, 43, being run out wide. They're all up the curb coming through turn 8 as the race leader on lap number 7 has 12 more minutes of the timed part of the race. Already we have drivers on their final track limit warning. It's Ben Jenkins, in fact, who is such, the British driver, regular in minis before he went to the burgeoning British Clio Championship last year. So Torelli, Castelli, and behind is Pouget. Gael Castelli we used to see in Toyota Supras in the GT4 European Series. Now in a Clio, he tries to get up alongside for the race lead, but Gabriele Torelli able to fend him off. Castelli a little bit sideways there as he switches sides. Up the inside tries to come Pouget, no way through. And then we've had the change for fourth. Look, Nicolas Milon in the all-white car there is ahead of Alex Lancialotti. So a wrong has been righted in a sense from the first lap of the race where Milon was ahead and then got hit. But now he is ahead and he's on the tail of his old rival, his old nemesis, fellow team owner, David Pouget. Pouget up the curb as they go through turn 1. This Misano circuit by the Adriatic coast always delivers good racing. It's been a really hot and sunny weekend, but it's clouded over a bit this afternoon, and that's helped all round to bring down the temperature a little bit. Even 25 minutes plus a lap in one of these cars, which will be the best part of half an hour, is going to be pretty hot and hard work, especially given how physical the racing is. Very wide there. Coming out of turn 6 was Gael Castelli. We've got another driver on a final warning for track limit abuses. It is Rolando Bodaccini. As there, with a bit of a gap this time, is Gabriele Torelli. And David Pouget a bit frustrated that he can't get past Gael Castelli. He needs to get on with the job now. If this is when Torelli just starts to up the pace, having looked after the tyres, then Pouget knows he's got to be on the attack. They've tried this working together, Lark, and it's not really helped. So now, let's see what happens. Pouget goes right. This is turn 10. They're back on the power. They make that run again towards the kink at turn 11, and as they do so, you can see Gabriele Torelli on this part of the circuit with the boxy nature of the shape of the car, giving a tow to Gael Castelli. Next up is Pouget, then you've got Milon ahead of Lancialotti. Still those 5 clear of Philippe Kunze, and everybody else virtually has a playmate going all the way back down the order. 41 of them started, and we haven't got all of them circulating. Let's leave it at that. An effort is made there. Look to the inside by the recovering Ben Colburn. Goes ahead of the experienced 99 Guillaume Maillot, who has a lock-up as he heads up towards the hairpin. Guillaume Maillot, who's been the winner of the Peugeot Youngtimer Cup. He's been a regular in not only Clios, but French GT and the Peugeot 208 Cup as well over the years. Leaders come by. Torelli, Castelli, Pouget, Milon, Lancialotti. No change in the order on that last lap. Fastest lap of the race just done by Torelli, largely because he didn't have to think too much about defending. He's got about 2 Clio's lengths over Castelli, who in turn is trying to fend off Pouget. Through turns 1 to 3 go the leaders. Way wide in the background with Stefan Stoichkov coming out of turn 3. Lancialotti trying to get back ahead of Milon. So as Nicolas now is defending, that means he's fallen markedly off the back of David Pouget. And all of this happening, as perhaps you can expect as you get late race, when people stop playing and start to push and start to drive for position rather than just being in that peloton to keep in the leading fight towards the end. Gael Castelli then second, but not close enough to attack Torelli. Now, were Pouget to get past, could he do anything about the leader? It looks unlikely now. Torelli is just starting to build this gap, a 10th in this sector, a 10th in that. But you add it all together over a couple of laps, and it's all looking good. This is how you can win races in Clio Cup as the drivers come out of turn 10, although that said to the eye, maybe Castelli just a little bit nearer the other side of that sort of double apex hairpin, the kink at 9, the actual corner itself of turn 10. Down they come then, through Curvoni, and it remains Gabriele Torelli up front with his very impressive CV in one-make racing from minis to Clios, and Torelli in the Rangoni Corsa car. Luca Rangoni was a front runner years ago in the Clio V6 Championship, as well as racing Alfa Romeos in the European Touring Car and World Touring Car Championships. Now the leading 3 are closing up. Castelli has got back onto the tail of Torelli, so it is game on. And if they squabble, that's going to bring Milon back into the mix as well. 7 3/4 minutes to go now. The clock becoming ever more relevant because the battle is on. Over the timing line they come once again. Lancialotti in 5th, trying to get himself back ahead of Milan as the leaders drop down towards the first corner. And a touch of the curb by Pouget's white and yellow car in third place. There you can see those so-called banana curbs that are put in, the yellow sausage-shaped curbings that are designed to keep people away from corner cutting. Milan goes way wide out of 3, and that gives Lancialotti a sniff of a chance up the inside. This time, though, he's a bit more circumspect and decides against it. So Milan hangs on to 4th. There are the leaders, Torelli, Castelli, Pouget, gap, Milan 4th, Lancialotti 5th as the cars make that sprint towards the back part of the racetrack then. They're going to go left through turn 8. And drama at turn 1 in the gravel is 999, which is Franck Horn having an emergency, and Joe Nava as well, the two pseudonym drivers getting going, but they've had their coming together. Now, is Horn's car still in the gravel bed, or can he survive? I think he might be able to get going again, as you see Gael Castelli coming through. There is a time penalty coming for Damiano Pacetti for track limits. Let's piece this drama together. 3 into 1 did not go. Simple as that. 3 went into the corner, and it was Franck Horn who was the driver that came off worse. So Horn into the gravel. So Damiano Pacetti 12th at the minute. He's got this track limit time penalty, as I say. Gael Castelli then, still on the back of Torelli. 6 minutes are on the clock now. So Torelli turning his way up out of the hairpin. Gael Castelli looking for a way through. 3rd, Pouget. I'm still a bit surprised that Nicolas Milan is not taking advantage of this 3-way fight, as again Pouget looks to the inside, because Milan, we know he's good. He's got so many Clio championships to his name. Safety car deployed, and you can see why, with Horn's car stuck in the gravel at the end of the pit straight. So the safety car deployed, and that's exactly what Nicolas Milan needed, and it's exactly what the leaders did not need, because now everybody is going to bunch up. So safety car deployed, and you can see to get Horn's car out of the gravel, you can't really do that with the cars still circulating. In fairness, you've got to neutralise the race. So Pierre de Lettre looks at the clock and thinks, okay, I can just about do this. Bunch everybody up. Won't take long really to get that hopefully onto tarmac and then to a place of safety, and then we can release the cars maybe for 1, hopefully even 2 racing laps at the end. So, calm before the storm this. There with its mirror hanging off is Ben Colburn's car. Ben got beaten up early on and has fallen way back into 16th place now, but might be able to gain ground on the resumption of the race, but we're a few minutes away from that being a thought. So there is the Maserati safety car that we have, and Gabriele Torelli from Gael Castelli, from David Pouget, the order. Pouget then from pole down to 3rd, won't like that. He's still leading the French part of the race, so he's still on for 5 out of 5 as Horn's car is being retrieved. And once it's out of the gravel, it can probably just drive away. So the rope will come off. And wait, says the marshal. And now go, says the marshal. So Horn rejoins. That's another of the GPA racing cars. Spits gravel on the road. And so now the snatch vehicle needs to get off the circuit. And once it is, then hopefully we might even be able to go racing at the end of this lap, which will give us a little bit more racing time than anticipated. So the cars, with a bit of temperature still to be maintained in the tyres, go down towards 11. You can see 1 or 2 are a little bit dog-eared. 99 Guillaume Mayo goes through. Guillaume is currently in 18th place, normally a bit higher up the order than that. Safety car in this time, so a very brief safety car period. Lights will be out, and so now Gabriele Torelli has to control the restart. You can't accelerate and then slow. Once you accelerate, you've got to keep on accelerating. When you do that is up to you, but once you start, you've got to keep going. So Castelli, Pouget, Milan, Lancialotti, the leading 5, they've all bunched up. And so let's see who is going to be the bravest around the first sequence of corners. We have 3 minutes on the clock plus a regulation lap, so we're going to get 2 racing laps in the time and then the regulation lap at the end of it. Green flag wave then. Gabriele Torelli from 3rd on the grid leads them away down towards turn 1. Gael Castelli in 2nd spot, and then you've got David Pouget in 3rd. But as they get towards the braking zone for turn 1, there's no change in the order, and Philip Kunzer in the green car in 6th place drops away slightly, just ahead of Stefan Stoikov, and then Anthony Gerardo in 8th. Gerardo not really making the progress anticipated of another Clio champion that we have in the entry. race leaders now up through turn 5, and this time Gerardo does gain a place, so he puts himself ahead of that rather crowded house around him. Stoikov is next in the queue, and Nicolas Milan Jr. up the curb as the race leaders accelerate then along that back straight down to the kink at turn 7, and Torelli trying to convert the race lead on this restart into a commanding advantage. That's going to be easier said than done with Castelli and Pouget right in his wheel tracks. More lockups as they dive down to the turn 8 Queccia corner. It was Damiano Pacetti doing the locking up in number 43, the red car. So there are the 3 leaders. And again, Milan has not really been able to stay with them. Somebody else way off into the weeds there. So trying to rejoin as the field streams past. To go firing off the road that far takes some doing. Race leader, Torelli, Castelli right up behind him, and Pouget in third, looking for a way to recapture that advantage that he had early on. Now the drivers will know they'll have a clock on the dash, they're running out of time, so there's going to be one more lap within the time part of the race coming up, and then the regulation lap at the end. As way wide in the background goes Kunze, Torelli and Castelli tripping over themselves. Here comes Pouget to try to gain ground, coming off the hairpin. Castelli to the outside. Torelli will defend one. Can he defend from both? Doesn't need to. They all slot in line astern then as they come into turn 16. The fastest lap of the race done now by Christian Riccarini, number treble 7. He is in 9th place as the leading battle comes over the line. Milan still there 4th. Alex Lancialotti 5th, thinking about a move to the inside, but he's not going to be able to do it as the cars drop into turn 1. So still Torelli, Castelli and Pouget in that order. But now the drivers will know they are running out of time. 2 laps to go. If they can push, this is the time. Not saying they haven't been pushing, but anything they've been holding back, they can't do it now. They've got to get on with the job. Milan 4th, Lancialotti 5th, and way wide there, all the way through the gravel. Is that Pacetti once again? Gets back onto the road. No, not this time. The sister car of Nikola Solik it is that goes off the road. So Tosic, former Carter, back on track. As you look at the lead scrap that remains in control of Gabriele Torelli. That's second, Gael Castelli, David Pouget third then together. And Nicolas Milan, despite getting much closer thanks to the safety car, has not stayed close enough. Pouget on the outside line. He needs to try to go wide into turn 10 and then nip up the inside coming off the corner, which is precisely what Castelli has in mind against Torelli, and neither can achieve it. Again, now they are looking to try to get a tow down that back part of the circuit. Loic Labeda, incidentally, is under investigation for overtaking under the safety car, but he's a long way back. There's another one in the gravel in the background. Look, trying to get back on track. There are the leaders, and Pouget now on the outside of Gael Castelli. So David Pouget knows that he's got to make a move here. It's the wrong line, really, for the hairpin, and he's not surely going to be able to brave it out there. Into the braking zone they come. Mindful that Milan is getting closer as well. If Pouget can stand his ground, he'll have the inside for the next corner. But the danger is that he can't. No, slots back in behind. And while they've squabbled, Torelli has tried to pull away a little bit. Milan almost back with them as well. 1 lap to go at the end of this. And now it is all bets off. It's all gloves off as well. It's going to get rowdy. Over the line they come. Very wide. Bounces Philip Kunze. But over the timing line goes the leader, Gabriele Torelli, then in the white car, just ahead of Gael Castelli. Then it is Pouget, Milan, Alex Lancialotti next up in 5th. And Kunze trying to stay with him in 6th spot. No chance for a challenge to be made into turn 1. So can Gabriele Torelli hang on in there? He won at Spa. He won at Imola. He's had a habit in the last 2 events in Clio Cup Series of winning race 1, and he might make it 3 race 1 wins in a row, if you like, here, given the way that he's going. Still tucked up in 2nd place is Castelli, then it is Pouget in 3rd as they come through now turn 6. Nicolas Milan still having to defend from Lancialotti as a driving standards flag is also being given now to number 2, which is Eric Bossani. The race leaders down the back straight into turn 7's kink and then to turn 8. They all concertina again under braking. Torelli being able to play with them a little bit there and then accelerate out of the corner, make that move away as Pouget again tries his outside line move on Castelli. Gael has been unable to do anything really about the race leader, but has done a good job of defending 2nd spot for the poleman Pouget, who now has Milan right up behind him as they come out of turn 10. It's a 16 corner lap. So as they run now down towards the completion of the lap, completion of the race, it remains just Gabriele Torelli ahead. Gael Castelli running out of options. Pouget a bit stuck in third. He can't jump both of them. He's got to hope that Castelli tries something and it trips both of them up. Round the outside comes Gael Castelli. Now Torelli has to go defensive. Is he going to go wide? He might just run a little bit wide, but even then Pouget's not able to take full advantage. Into the hairpin they go. Nose to tail. 3 for the lead, 4 for the lead. 2 corners to go. Milan on the back of Pouget, who tries to squeeze up the inside of Castelli going into 15. He can't do it. 1 corner to go, and a really good Clio Cup Series race 1 is about to be completed. The checkered flag is at the ready, and Gabriele Torelli powers out of the last corner, gaining half a car's length. The checkered flag is waved. Gabriele Torelli wins. Second is Gael Castelli. David Pouget third. Nicola Milan fourth. Fifth Alex Lancialotti, and sixth Philippe Kunze. A great race. Proper racing. That's how one-make racing should be, with no real silliness to it. And Gabriele Torelli the winner by 0.4 of a second. The leading 5 covered by 1.2 seconds, and some great battles all the way through the field. Gabriele Torelli the winner of Clio Cup Series in the second car. Gael Castelli winning Italy. David Pouget winning the French championship race. And then Nicolas Milan fourth, another of the Umbrella Clio Cup Series drivers only. But well done, Gabriele Torelli there, up from third on the grid. He had to work really, really hard to get into the lead, and then even harder in order to hang on to it. But he managed to do it. An excellent job there done by Gabriele Torelli. So the top 3 were Torelli, Castelli and Pouget. As I say, Clio Cup Series win for Torelli, Clio Cup Italy for Castelli, and Clio Cup France for Pouget. And there are going to be 1 or 2 teams with some work to do overnight. Cars a little dog-eared, to say the least, but a very happy Gabriele Torelli. And a win on home soil matters as well, so he's done a really good job there. Not for the first time we've seen Torelli victorious at Misano. And whether there's any home advantage, only the driver will ever really confess. But certainly, Gabriele Torelli goes ever so well around here and coming out on top. So the drivers will make the run around to the pit lane. There is Ronnie Stefani, 8th in the end. And Ronnie Stefani, one of the drivers from the junior section. And I think I'm right in saying the victor in that. Philippe Kunze given a penalty, so he falls to 7th place in the end for track limit offences. Anthony Gerardo then up into the top 6, even though Gerardo's absolute pace didn't look that flash, he was able to gain at the end. So, as I say, you have this Umbrella Clio Cup Series for which drivers can register, and then they can register for a region on top of that. And Gabriele Torelli is entered purely for Clio Cup Series. You don't have to do an extra championship. You can just score points in one, and he wants to focus on that. So, well done. Gabriele Torelli then comes down the pit lane with Gael Castelli and David Pouget as 2nd and 3rd. So lots of applause for Gabriele Torelli victorious. There is a frustrated David Pouget thinking about points in the championship, and some have just got away really in terms of Clio Cup Series, but in terms of Clio Cup France, which is on his agenda for many, many years. He finally did win that last season, David Pouget. Sorry, 2 years ago he won it. He comes through with that championship lead still intact. Gabriele Torelli being congratulated by the Rangoni Corsa team. Another cracking race, and that is how one-make racing should be. Close, exciting, but without the poor driving standards that have blighted some championships over the years. But really, really good racing indeed from Clio Cup Series here this weekend. It's going to take Gabriele a long time, I think, to get around to taking off his crash helmet. So many people want to come and say well done or take his photo. David Pouget and Gael Castelli, the 2 French drivers then, 2nd and 3rd. Gael Castelli's car from the Milan stable, so 3 different teams within the top 3. Rangoni, Milan and GPA represented, as there is Gabriele Torelli then. a very happy race winner, and the reigning champion will be ushered up to the podium in due course. And he's got to do it all over again tomorrow with a separate qualifying session tomorrow morning. David Pouget comes over to say well done. And there is virtually an unmarked car of Gabriele Torelli. The sticker on the front, the sign on the front saying it's under park fair made condition, so the scrutineers can check that all is well. So, Gabriele Torelli wins race 1 in Clio Cup Series at Misano from Gael Castelli. David Pouget third for the podium. Nicolas Milan fourth after a lap 1 dust up with Alex Lancialotti, who is fifth, and Anthony Gerardo sixth. The penalty for Philip Kunze putting him seventh from the winning junior Ronnie Stefani. Then Giacomo Trebbi and Ben Colburn got back up to 10th, having been roughed up early on. Nicola Tosic 11th from Christian Riccarini, who did the fastest lap of the race. Mattia Lancialotti 13th from Stefan Stoikov, who fell back late race. And Mauro Polderman, the former sim racer, coming home in 15th. Damiano Puccetti also got a penalty. He fell to 20th. Laurent Diadus got up to 21st. And of those that were in strife, Joe Nava got 30th after a tangle. Nicolas Milan Jr., he fell back to 31st. And we had quite a few in the end that didn't get to the end, the last one home being Gabriele Alonso in 33rd place. So Gabriele Torelli the winner by 0.4 of a second, and David Pouget and Gael Castelli now know exactly what they've got to do to try to fight back tomorrow if they're going to stand any chance of outscoring him in that second race and indeed taking the win away. Another of the drivers that we lost was Horn, who was in the gravel. That's suggesting he didn't do a lap. He definitely did. I think the transponder was given up on that car, but that's largely because it was a retirement. So we have the highlights of a very busy race indeed that were initially led away by David Pouget from pole position. And as the cars wriggled their way through the first few corners, it wasn't long before it got lively. Alex Lancialotti and Nicolas Milan finding themselves together. Lancialotti had been crowded out at turn 2. He got back onto the road, and then there was contact up at turn 3. Pouget led early on, with Torelli making a pretty desperate dive, but it worked. Pouget, to be fair, gave him the room, and Gael Castelli also bought into that and nipped up the inside for second place. Castelli then took over as the main challenger. He got the race lead, but not for long. Because straight after that, Torelli was back on his tail, and when he forced a mistake out of Castelli, who locked up going into the hairpin, back through came the charging Torelli. Contact between Joe Nava and Horn put the pseudonym Horn into the gravel trap. Safety car was deployed, and on the resumption of the race, it was Torelli, Castelli and Pouget all fighting for honours. There was a big lockup by Puccetti going down towards turn 8. Others ended up finding themselves on the grass. But in the end, there was no stopping Gabriele Torelli as the cars battled their way toward the end of the race. Gael Castelli had one last chance to challenge, and that was on the outside line, going up through turn 12 to turn 13, but it just didn't work for him. And so at the checkered flag, it was a delighted Gabriele Torelli who came through to score victory. And for Gabriele Torelli, another win in Clio Cup Series. The reigning champion then, a happy man. That's a third victory of the season. Gael Castelli there, taking second spot, also taking on board some water. And David Pouget for third place is the first driver towards the podium. And will be, I suspect, a little frustrated with that, having qualified on pole, but just not being able to convert that into the race win. And with no teammates up there particularly to help, so third it was. Second place to Gael Castelli, another of the French drivers coming new into Clios this year, but after a decorated career. And the top step goes the way of Gabriele Torelli for the Rangoni Corsa team here at Misano. So, bravo Gabriele Torelli, Michelin winner's hat back on, and the Italian driver getting his breath back now after a pretty hard race, not only attacking early on, but then having to defend, spending so much time looking in your mirror and not making a mistake. The trophies presented first to David Pouget, third spot. Second place to Gael Castelli then, who was 4 tenths back at the end of the race. And another race winner's trophy for Gabriele Torelli, last year's Clio Cup Series champion. And that's going to help as well in terms of points to overhaul David Pouget in the title race this year. Gabriele Torelli then takes the winner's trophy. And for Clio Cup Series, there is also the team's trophy. That goes to Rangoni Corsa. And applause for the teams, applause for the drivers at the end of, as expected, a very lively race. Clio Cup Series then will be back on track tomorrow here at Misano. The usual format of the double-header race weekends in the championship, and the cars will race at the end of tomorrow at 5 minutes past 5. So plenty of time for them to repair cars if it's required. Right. Excellent racing in Clio Cup Series. We look forward to more of the same tomorrow from Gabriele Torelli, Gael Castelli and David Pouget taking second and third behind a third win of the year for Torelli. We'll see you tomorrow for more of the same.